Hi, I'm Damian from Bartlett Automotive, Huntingdon's independent BMW MINI specialist. Today we're going to talk about the MOT test and a pre-MOT check. So, every car from 3 years and older requires a statutory MOT test annually once a year. So what can you do to check to make sure your car is ready for that test? Well, we can check to make sure some of the vital things are ready, so it helps you get through the MOT. We can check, obviously, make sure the door's open, check to make sure your tyres are all good for the MOT, obviously your oil levels and your water levels, checking obviously all your lights work and there's no fault lights on the dashboard. So, what we do is we check the doors, make sure they all open all the way around, including the boot. Now it is important, obviously, for the bonnet to open. Once we know that all the doors open, we know the car is ready for the MOT. Now, tyres, we must check to make sure all 4 tyres are of legal standard. So, they must be of all the same size on the same axle. Some BMWs and Minis have different size tyres front and rear. So, as long as you've got the same size tyre on each axle, then you should be fine. But, what we do need, we need at least 1.6mm of tread across the centre 3/4 of the tyre tread depth. So, looking at the tyre, if we go for the centre 3/4, we need at least 1.6mm around the total circumference. This tyre is good. I'll measure it. 6mm, but so we'll be fine. Obviously, you need to check all 4 tyres to make sure they are good. Spare does not come into the MOT test as yet, so you don't have to worry about the spare. So, inside the car, you need to make sure the seat belt works, so it comes out all the way. Whilst you're checking to make sure there's no cuts or abrasions and that all anchorages are nice and tight. That's good. And then it must retract all the way easily. Must also clip in the seat belt and release properly. Front seats must move backwards and forwards. And obviously you must check all 4 seat belts and 5 seat belts if applicable. Must check to make sure when the car starts, all the lights go out on the dashboard, and make sure your washers and your wipers work adequately. Now the rear wiper does not come into the MOT test at the moment. So on the MOT pre-check, we need to make sure when we start the car that all the warning lights on the dashboards go out, namely the ABS, any stability control, engine management lights, run flat lights, etc. So let's start the car and let's have a look. And they all go out. So as part of the MOT pre-check, we need to make sure obviously all the lights are working. Ideally, you need a friend or a family member to check on the outside, front and rear, to make sure the lights are working fine. So we need to check the side lights, need to check the indicators on both sides. They must show an orange light. Hazard warning lights, your dipped headlights and your main beam. Now, if you have HID headlamps or xenon or bi-xenon headlamps, you must make sure that the headlight washers work at the same time as you use your windscreen washers. So once we've checked the front lights, we need to check the rear lights as well. So we need to check the side lights, the indicators, making sure they're orange on both sides, checking the hazard lights, checking the brake lights, checking the fog light, and also checking the number plate lights to make sure both of them work, or one if applicable. And that's it.